Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it is March 26th, 2019, and we're here to talk about Smackdown Live. Smackdown Live came to us from the Mohegan Sun Casino out there in Connecticut, and I thought Smackdown overall was a pretty good show. Very interesting things happened on this show. Some things that we expected somewhat, and other things that we had no freaking clue was even going to take place. And we'll talk about all of it and what we knew and what we didn't know going into SmackDown. So, I mean, right off the bat, Charlotte is the new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. What? So, we'll get to that in a minute, because that's not what really opened to SmackDown. But we'll get to what went down with that. So backstage reactions to that of things we heard. So SmackDown, I'm going to let a couple of you guys, a little more of you file in before we do start talking SmackDown, just so everybody can get in here. Let me reload this. The chat's going really slow and kind of laggy for me, so I'm just going to reload my chat really fast. All right, here we go. So we've got Lester Faris, Luke Might, T-Life, Derek Bocek, Nicholas Altamore, Nicholas Armstrong, Beastie Boy 124, Dontrell Bailey. We also got Robert Velos Jr., Ty TV, Christopher. What's going on, everybody? All right, so we're good. All right. Now we're working. So SmackDown Live opens up. We got the New Day coming out. Kofi Kingston, just like in previous weeks, doesn't really say too much. Tom Phillips noted that rumors suggested that New Day might be quitting tonight on SmackDown. The crowd broke into a loud Kofi chant. Woods said the past few months have been an emotional roller coaster ride. Big E stated that they've been together for almost 5 years now. The fans have been there for the New Day and for when they said, New Day sucks. New Day rocks. They've been there through all of it. Woods said that it's been one hell of an experience. They want to thank everybody. Big E and Xavier Woods keep talking a little bit, and they talk about like obstacles that have been put in front of Kofi, everything that's stopped Kofi from getting where he needs to get, and the fans boo a little bit. They say, no. Woods said that it's been hard watching the way Kofi Kingston's been treated over this last month or so. Woods then said, we've contemplated leaving, quitting, just walking out. But we need some answers first. We need answers from Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon saunters down to the ring. He then comes out, and he's like, what? You guys are going to quit? You're not going to quit. I don't see you guys quitting. I don't believe that you guys would even quit. Nope, you're not going to quit. And he just keeps on with that. He then called the New Day stale. They're nothing more than a nostalgia act at this point, and they were created by him, Vince McMahon. He said, Kofi, unfortunately, you're just a B-plus player. And he's not going to let the New Day, or a B-plus tag team, earn what he thinks is the biggest shot at WrestleMania. So Woods claimed that Bryan's afraid to face Kofi Kingston. He said that Bryan's nothing more than a hypocrite. He said that he fought against the McMahons, and now he's fighting with the McMahons. McMahon then told him to shut up. He mocked the New Day for teasing quitting again. McMahon wondered if Big E and Woods are an A-plus or a B-plus tag team. He wondered if they can put Kingston in the WrestleMania main event. And keep in mind, through most of this, Daniel Bryan's on the ramp with Rowan, and every time Vince says something to his benefit, he's like, yep, right, yep, let's go Vince. I love a cheerleader Daniel Bryan. So he says, you know what, Kofi, you're not going to get another opportunity. I'm not going to let you fight for the right to challenge for the title anymore. No, that's not going to happen. But the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods, they can fight for your right. And not to party, but to challenge for the WWE Championship. So he says, if they can win a tag team gauntlet match later on tonight, Kofi will go on to WrestleMania. They accept the challenge. And then we get a backstage promo from Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch basically stated that she's going to win at WrestleMania. And Charlotte Flair's not deserving of being in the WrestleMania main event. So then it cuts to Charlotte Flair coming down to the ring. She's got a microphone and says, I'll show you deserving. And I'm like, what is this? Now we got to backtrack a little. So for a week now, it's been advertised that Naomi, Carmella, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville will all participate in a fatal four-way match, with the winner going on to WrestleMania to challenge Asuka for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Even, I want to say, at like 1 p.m., between noon and 1 p.m. Pacific was the last time I checked the SmackDown preview on WWE.com, and this match was still advertised. Then a couple hours later, about 2 hours later, maybe 3, the match was no longer advertised, no longer on the SmackDown preview. And I'm like, what's going on? And instead, we did not get this fatal four-way match. We then started seeing some things start to trickle out on social media that, hey, Asuka is not going to be very favorable tonight. Things are not going to go in Asuka's way tonight on SmackDown Live. And it didn't. So Charlotte Flair comes out. Asuka then comes out. And Greg Hamilton just goes, this match is scheduled for one fall. And it is for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And the announcer's perfect on commentary. All kinds of like, wait, what? Huh? No way. What? Are you... Like, they played it up being like out of the loop, not knowing what was going on perfectly. And I loved that. So we got Charlotte versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We had heard earlier in the day that whatever is replacing this women's fatal four-way is actually going to get a good amount of time and be pretty significant. And this had a good amount of time and was pretty significant. The two traded side headlocks early. Flair gained the advantage, but Asuka fought back, and she applied an octopus submission hold. Flair attacked the legs to regain control. Asuka fired back with the lung blower, but hurt her leg. Asuka hit a German suplex and a shining wizard for a near fall. Flair hit a big boot for a 2 count. Nice look of big boot. These two really work well together. Excuse me. Flair then went for a moonsault, but Asuka got her feet up, and then she applied the Asuka lock. Charlotte rolled through, almost turned it into like a cradle pin, but Asuka just got right out of that. Flair then rocked Asuka with a hard chop. Flair then went for the figure 8, but Asuka blocked the move. Asuka then rocked Flair with a kick to the head and a very close near fall. The two then climbed to the top rope and hit a beautiful, oh baby, beautiful Spanish fly. These two did this move in sync. Like sometimes you see the Spanish fly where like one guy's a little bit off on their flip. No. This was a perfect Spanish fly that just crashed and burned in a good way. Charlotte got a close near fall off of this one. Asuka then tried to get the Asuka lock on Charlotte Flair, but she couldn't quite get her arms together on the chicken wing of it, so she turned it into a triangle submission choke. I loved the transitions here. Transitions from Asuka into her submissions were on par tonight. Charlotte would counter the triangle choke with an one-armed powerbomb for a 2 count. Asuka went for the Asuka lock, but Flair countered it into the figure 8. Asuka taps. Smackdown women's champion is now Charlotte Flair. Charlotte is a 8-time women's champion, the only person to win a women's championship in the WWE 8 times or more. And now, you may ask, well, what's going to happen at WrestleMania? We don't know. It's still being advertised as Charlotte, Becky, Ronda. Is it winner take all? Is it a unification match? Is only the Raw Women's Championship on the line? All of that, hopefully, gets answered next week on Raw or SmackDown. We don't know what is going on. People backstage didn't know what was going on. I mean, within hours of the show going live, many still thought that we were getting that fatal 4-way. I don't know what the point of this was. It was a great surprise. Like, nobody really saw this coming. I don't think anybody expected to see this on SmackDown tonight. And now we just got to wait for WrestleMania. We're less than 14 days out. We're going to be 12 days away from WrestleMania. And you know, WrestleMania, it's going to be an interesting one. We know this is going on last, but we don't know the title situation. Obviously, if it's just for the Raw Championship, then the SmackDown title is not being defended. If it's for both championships, cool. Are they unifying the women's titles and having one just like the tag titles for the women? We don't know. But
that was bad.
Thank you, Nick, for your thoughts on Charlotte Flair becoming the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. But I mean, I honestly don't know what to say because I'm still kind of shocked and confused by this. And then they kind of ruined Charlotte's moment of celebration when Kurt Angle came out when she was only halfway up the stage. She's walking up the ramp and Kurt Angle's music hits, and I loved this part. So Kurt's music hits. Charlotte's walking up the ramp. Kurt walks out, and the crowd starts going, "You suck. You suck." And Charlotte goes, "Me?" And then it just focuses on Kurt, and you don't see Charlotte anymore. I'm like, she did that perfectly. I loved that. Excuse me. And with that, that transitions into the next match we were supposed to get, AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle. Now, I see a lot of you in the chat, before I move forward, I see a lot of you in the chat asking, is this the end of the brand split? A, probably not. I don't expect it to be the end of the brand split. And B, we don't know. Just because Charlotte, Becky, or Ronda, most likely Becky, could have both titles leaving WrestleMania doesn't mean it's the end of the brand split. It can just be a floating champion where whoever's the woman's champion can go from brand to 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 brand, whatever you want to say. So, I mean, there's not much more to say on this because we don't know much more on this. And hopefully we do learn some more tonight or maybe tomorrow on exactly what is going on. And we'll, obviously, if we learn stuff tonight or tomorrow, like tonight or tomorrow morning, we will talk about it on tomorrow's episode of PW Daily. Drops every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Pro Wrestling Unlimited YouTube channel at roughly 11 a.m. Pacific. Anyways, Kurt versus AJ. This match looked like it was going to be good right off the bat. Could have been pretty good. Probably had the potential to be better than the Kurt Joe match. They shook hands early on, hugged before the match. AJ did cut a promo backstage before this match saying that, he's honored to be facing Kurt in his final match on SmackDown. Styles says that he isn't taking this match lightly with WrestleMania looming just around the corner. And Angle might have laid the foundation, but this is the house that AJ Styles built. So Angle hit a German suplex early and went for the Angle slam. Styles slipped out and applied a calf crusher. They played this up really, really well, like Kurt was going to tap a few different times, and AJ was just riding it and riding it and riding that calf crusher. Finally, Kurt rolls through and gets out of it. Kurt then gets him in an ankle lock. Styles reverses and sends Kurt face first into the turnbuckles. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Randy Orton with an RKO on AJ Styles. But, Kurt still got the last laugh when he hit Orton with an angle slam. Match was very, very short. Kept short. I think that was a good thing based off of what we saw last night with Kurt and Joe. Kurt just did not look good. Going forward, we got a pre-tape segment from earlier in the day. Rey Mysterio and his giant of a son, Dominic, or should I say, Jack and the Giant. Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic discussed Mysterio's match against United States champion Samoa Joe at WrestleMania. Mysterio promised to win the title in front of his son. I don't know if they're really going to... I don't know. I'm like, they need to do something with Dominic. Are they going to sign him? I'm going to put him in the PC. We know that Rey is wanting Dominic to train all around the world and learn different styles. I think he's trained a little in Mexico. We know he's trained plenty with Rey himself. Rey actually had him do a session at Lance Storm's academy in Canada, and Lance Storm only had good things to say about Dominic and his work ethic. So, I don't know. We'll see. I love it. Nathan Wallace in the chat said, Giant Fuego Dominic. Giant Fuego. Nice. I like that. So then Miz came out, cut a promo about his match at WrestleMania. He proposed, hey, my match at WrestleMania against Shane, I want it to be Falls Count Anywhere. I want to be able to beat Shane's ass anywhere around this building. Anywhere around MetLife Stadium. He said that he's tired of all the things that Shane has said about his father, putting his hands on the Miz's father, attacking him at Fastlane, and he wants this match to be Falls Count Anywhere, so there's nothing that can stop him from what he's going to do to Shane. And then Shane comes out with security and some wrestlers, and I was so disappointed. They're in Connecticut, and we didn't get any Mean Street Posse references or anybody wearing Mean Street Posse vests. Those security guards would have been great if they were dressed up as the Mean Street Posse, old Pete Gas and Joey Abs. So Shane comes out and goes, I've got this security not for me, Miz, but for your protection on what I can do to you. He then goes on to talk about Miz and his family a little more. Says that a depressing moment was when his father decided to inseminate his mother. He then agreed, Falls Count Anywhere? Falls Count Anywhere. Be a good idea. He likes it. He's booking it. Boom. There we go. So this match is going to be Falls Count Anywhere. And then he sticks his goons, I guess you could say, on the Miz. We had Shelton Benjamin out there. We had Sanity out there. We had Primo out there. Unfortunately, no Epico. And they all went and attacked the Miz. Shelton and Primo kind of disappeared. But Sanity started beating on Miz along the barricade. Miz then flipped a couple of the Sanity guys. I think it was Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. Flipped them into the crowd. Fought off Eric Young. Got thrown into the crowd himself. Sorry about that. Got thrown into the crowd himself. And then fought them all off. Miz fought off 5 or 6 guys by himself. Made Miz look really good. And the crowd was even chanting for Miz big time. Big time. So moving forward. In the back, the Iconics discussed having a match at WrestleMania, but not just any match. A match for the SmackDown Live Women's Championships. They promised to win the titles, and that WrestleMania would be iconic. So next up, we've got Xavier Woods. We've got Big E. We've got another goddamn gauntlet match. How many of these gauntlet matches are we going to see? And someone let me know on Twitter, before that gauntlet match, before Elimination Chamber, it had been a year since we had another gauntlet match. A year. We don't need this many gauntlet matches in a month's period. One every 6 months, one every year. Not bad, not shabby. But 3 in a month? Yeah, Marcus Ryan in the chat says it. Overdone. The first team that comes out, actually, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. This match is a nothing match. They did show Kofi Kingston watching in the back with Becky Lynch, Rey Mysterio, and the Hardy Boys. They stated that Kofi has to watch from the back because he's banned from ringside. Again, a great little thing that they didn't have to say but should have said just to tie everything together. Woods went for the quick win, but Anderson briefly gained control. Woods rocked Anderson with a super kick. Big E hit Gallows, knocked him to the floor. New Day then hit the up, up, down, down for the victory. Short match. Get the first one out of the way. Squash Gallows and Anderson because they won't resign with the company. You won't do nothing with them of significance. Why should they stay? They're just being reaffirmed. It's being reaffirmed to them. Why should we stay? So next up was Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. Heels took over and isolated Woods in their corner. Woods knocked Rusev off the apron. Nakamura went for a reverse exploder, but Woods slipped out the back. Big E then got the hot tag and ran a little wild. He whipped Rusev into the ring steps. The heels fought back, and Nakamura hit a knee for a near fall. Woods then sent Rusev to the floor and followed it up with a drop kick through the ropes. Big E avoided a Kinshasa. New Day then hit the up, up, down, down on Nakamura. One step closer to Kofi going to WrestleMania. So next out came the bar. And this was the highlight of this gauntlet match because any combination of the New Day versus the bar is 99% of the time great. Good. I love it. The bar was firmly in control early. They isolated Big E this time on their side of the ring. Cesaro gave Big E the big swing and locked on a sharpshooter. Big E powered out of the move, but Cesaro prevented a tag. Woods eventually did get the hot tag and ran a little wild. He nailed Cesaro with a dropkick and caught Sheamus with a nice-looking DDT. Woods then hit a dive to the floor and hit a leg drop off the top on Cesaro for a close 2 count. After a commercial break, Sheamus attempted a bro kick, but Big E countered with a powerbomb. Cesaro caught Woods with an uppercut for a near fall. The bar then set up for the white noise, but Big E pulled Cesaro to the floor. Woods then rolled up Sheamus for the victory. Great match here. Then after the match, Bar wasn't going down like that. Bar then grabbed a table and put Big E through the table, and Big E just right through that table, just crunched. So next up was supposed to be the Usos, and the Usos do come out. The Usos grab the mics, and as Big E's laying on the floor, Xavier's laying over him like, come on, Usos, I'll take you on myself. Xavier was ready for a handicap match. But remember, last week, when Kofi was doing his gauntlet match, Usos were front and center watching, cheering. The Usos come out, and they say, you know, us, New Day, we've been rivals, had some hella matches. But if there's anybody that deserves to challenge for the WWE Championship, that's Kofi Kingston. We want Kofi Kingston to go to WrestleMania, so for that, forfeit the match. The Usos walk off. New Day looks shocked. So in the back, you've got Daniel Bryan just going a full rage. Like, what the fuck is going on here? He starts throwing chairs. One chair almost hits Rowan. One chair almost hits the TV, knocks it over almost. Bryan just goes crazy. But then they say, there's one final team. And out does come the WWE Champion Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Excuse me. The cough came out of nowhere. So the heels beat down the New Day. Bryan attacked Big E's leg and slammed it against the ring post. The heels isolated Big E and worked over his leg a little more. Woods finally made the save and sent Rowan to the floor. Woods then hit a huge dive on Rowan's. Bryan charged at Big E, but he caught him with a Uranagi. Big E then hit the big ending on Bryan, but Rowan broke up the pin. Bryan then looks at Rowan, looks at the announce table and goes, Rowan! And Rowan goes, what? He goes, clear the table! I loved it. I loved that spot. Daniel Bryan is great. So he clears the table. Rowan clears it. You don't know what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to do like the Iron Claw or something. And Woods caught Bryan with a DDT off the apron at this point. Rowan then did attempt the Iron Claw on Woods. Tried to send him to the announce table, but Woods slipped out. Woods then sent Rowan into the ring post. Big E then sent Rowan toppling over the announce table, pushed the announce table on top of Rowan, and then you remember, wait, oh, crap, Rowan's the legal man. New Day slide back in the ring, and the referee begins to count. And usually it's like, oh, really, a count-out victory? But the way there was just emotion in this count-out victory, the crowd just with the referee. 1, you hear every person in that building. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Referee counts 10. New Day wins. Whole freaking building just erupts, and Kofi runs down to the ring. So Kofi runs down to the ring. It's announced that he's going to move on to WrestleMania to challenge Daniel Bryan. But in the back of our heads, we're thinking, well, Greg Hamilton, you announced this same thing last week when when Kofi Kingston won, and it still wasn't the case. So in the back of your head, you've got to think, are they going to still screw Kofi? What's going to happen here? And then you see Vince getting in a limo. Kayla Braxton approaches him and she says, Mr. McMahon, Xavier Woods and Big E just won their tag team gauntlet match. Does this officially mean that Kofi Kingston will move on to WrestleMania and challenge Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship? Vince kind of ponders a little bit and says, well, yeah. So with that, Kofi Kingston does move on to WrestleMania and will officially challenge Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. I know a lot of people were saying this was drowned out and this was gone on too long. We knew this was going to be the match. Why'd they take so long to do it? But the way that gauntlet match ended, the way the New Day, count-out victories are usually lame. They're called the lame duck victory. But the way there was somehow emotion in that count-out, every single person counting along with the referee. You got the New Day barely getting back into the ring, barely able to stand. They're just trying to count along with the referee. Big E's being held up by the ropes. Xavier's sitting on the apron because, he can barely stand. Whew. Whew. It was great. It was great the way that it's just a happy ending. That Smackdown was a really good show tonight. And with that, now I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys thought of tonight's Smackdown Live. I thought Smackdown was a pretty good show. A couple things were kind of like meh. Like the AJ Styles, not Shane McMahon, but the AJ Styles and Kurt Angle thing. It was like, what? Really? Did they really have to have... I get why they had Randy do what he did, so Kurt didn't have to go long and do a full match. And then the Shane Miz thing, Shane got to look very strong, beating up like 5 or 6 guys. So it all worked in the end. It was all done for a purpose and a really good purpose. But if you guys do want to call in, you can call in at 559-475-8473. Again, the number is 559-475-8473. And we do have a call coming in right here. Let's take the first call. Caller in the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, how's it going?
Pretty good, yourself?
I have a question.
Go for it.
So, at WrestleMania, do you think, Big E and Xavier Woods, do you think they'll be banned from ringside?
That's a good question. And, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. I can see it possibly happening, but then at the same time, it's like, if they're banned from ringside, should they also ban Rowan from ringside?
Because that's my question, though. I mean, it's not fair if, like, Big E and Xavier are banned, but Rowan's not.
Right. And so that's the thing you gotta look at is like, if they're going to ban one side of the equation, they should ban both. Are they going to do that? Probably not. I could probably see them banning the New Day. Vince saying, New Day, you're banned from ringside. Oh, but Rowan, you could be there if Brian wants. So, I mean, there's no telling what they could do. I could see it going either way, to be honest.
All right. And what was your reaction on Charlotte Flair winning the Smackdown title?
Probably like most people's reaction. You know, at first when the match started, I was like, what the heck is going on? But the more the match went on, it was kind of obvious that Charlotte was going to win the belt. So in the end, it was still kind of like a what the hell moment, but not that big of a what the hell moment since I kind of expected it about 2 minutes into the match.
Because I had a feeling like once she won that belt, they were going to take her out the triple threat match.
Not going to happen. No. The match is still going to remain a triple threat.
So, like, do you think they'll like combine both titles or put both titles
I couldn't
on
even
one?
try to guess.
Put them on one person?
I honestly could not say. Nobody really knows right now. There's people in the company that still thought it was supposed to be the women's four-way number one contender match like an hour or two before the show went on the air.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
All right. Thanks for the call and have a great night.
You too.
All right. Before we take any calls, got some text messages coming in. This person says, have they announced anything about the Smackdown tag titles for WrestleMania? They haven't announced anything for any of the male tag team titles, which kind of weird that they haven't with less than 2 weeks till WrestleMania. Going forward, this person says your thoughts on Bray Wyatt's new look. He looks like Braun Strowman's little brother. Oh, okay, cool. I haven't seen 205 Live tonight, but this person says, it looks like Oni Lorcan has been officially moved full-time to 205 Live. He said, at least that's the way it seemed on the show. That's great if that's the case. Another guy being brought up. Unfortunately, it's 205 Live. And I think it was Kofi who actually said that 205 Live is the hidden gem of the WWE right now. This text message. Yeah, I'm not even going to read that. That's a troll text message. Let's take another call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. Did you like the show?
Thanks. What's up?
I said, did you like the show?
Oh, did I like the show? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the show was overall great. Maybe not say great, but if I had to rate the show, I couldn't give it any less than a 7.5. Probably an 8 for me.
All right. I was just asking, do you think WWE would add Asuka to the match?
No.
Why?
Because they've already, announced it's Becky, Charlotte, Ronda. Those are the three women. You've got Ronda because she's the former UFC star. She's mainstream. Everybody knows who Ronda Rousey is. You've got Charlotte Flair. She's got the Flair name. So a lot of people can recognize that Flair name because, Ric Flair. Then you've got Becky, who's the wrestling fans' favorite. You add Asuka in there, and it's like, Asuka really doesn't fit for what they're trying to do, unfortunately.
All right, what about them making a new title?
Pardon? You're kind of breaking in and out.
What about them making a new title?
Making a new title, like a one women's championship?
Yeah.
Like I said the last caller, I really can't even predict because nobody knows what's going on. It's too hard to say. They could only have the Raw Women's title defended. They can have both titles defended. They can do 2 out of 3 falls. We saw this before with Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, and Chris Jericho. I want to say thank you for the call. We saw this before with Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, and Chris Jericho. It was Kurt was the Intercontinental and the European champion. It was multiple falls to the finish. One fall was for the IC title. The other fall was for the European title. Do we see that at WrestleMania? Who the hell knows? So, there's so many different things they can do. Like I said, they can do it where it's multiple falls. One falls for the Raw title. One falls for the SmackDown title. That way, Charlotte can keep the SmackDown title. Becky can get the Raw title. Ronda can go on her merry way. Then, you can also only have the Raw title on the line. Or you can have both titles on the line. Or you can have one title on the line because they're being unified. It's just there's so many ways they can go, and we don't know. Hopefully we do learn some more tonight, leading in, or even tomorrow. Hopefully we don't have to wait a whole week to learn stuff, to be honest. But got more text messages rolling in. Now here's the thing. Oscar says in the text messages, did Asuka lose only because they had nothing for her at WrestleMania? Well, no. As of this morning, she was going to defend the SmackDown Live Women's Championship at WrestleMania. That was advertised as of like noon Pacific time. So I don't know how late of a call this was when this idea came up to put the title on Charlotte. It's just mind-boggling. But even with that, a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, there wasn't even really a plan for Asuka. This plan to have her defend her title against Mandy, Sonya, Naomi, or Carmella was kind of like a last week kind of idea. We'll get a couple more text messages here. This person says, do you think they're going to change the U.S. title at WrestleMania? Because I still want the ladder match. No. They're doing too much with Rey and Dominic to make this, excuse me, to make this a multi-person match. Unfortunately, I would like to see this a multi-person match. I think there's a lot of great guys on SmackDown that could benefit from this being like a multi-person ladder match. But they're doing too much of Rey and Dominic. Dominic saying that Joe's a bully and his dad's going to defeat the bully. Oscar in the chat says, when is Asuka's contract up? I don't know. I haven't heard. This person says, with the progression of the Kofi storyline, do you think he wins the WWE Championship at WrestleMania? There is, before, I was always like, no. But the more this storyline does go on, I can possibly see it happening. Also, if there's like a WWE champion has to be at the Saudi Arabia show on May 3rd, put the title on Kofi. Daniel Bryan, we already know, does not want to go to Saudi Arabia. So if Daniel doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, but you want the WWE champion to, then put the title on Kofi, even if it's just for a couple of weeks. But let's take another call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hi, Tim. This is Anthony.
How's it going?
I have a question, actually. With the rumors that apparently Roman is trying to convince Dean to stay, and if he does convince Dean to stay, what do you think they're going to do with Dean at WrestleMania? Do you think they're going to have him in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or do you think they're going to have him do a crazy hardcore match or something like that with someone?
Now, regardless of if Dean is staying or not, his contract's not till late April. So it's not like if he's leaving before WrestleMania. So regardless, they could still do whatever they want with him at WrestleMania. They could put him in a hardcore match like you stated, put him in the Battle Royal. As of this past week, as of yesterday's Raw, they hadn't had anything announced yet. They hadn't had anything that anybody backstage knew for Dean Ambrose. And the last two times we saw Dean, he got laid out by Drew McIntyre. So maybe he's just in Roman's corner? Honestly, I don't know. It's a tricky thing because they don't want to promote somebody that they know is going to leave and could possibly go to the competition. Because when you think about it, with Dean leaving when his contract is up and not getting released, I'm 99% certain he won't have a no-compete clause. So say his contract expires April 30th, that next day he can go work for anybody he wants if he does not have that no compete. So they don't want to promote somebody heavily that they know could be with the competition very soon.
No, the reason why I asked that is because, like I said, with the rumors, let's say it happens. Let's say Roman convinces him to stay after WrestleMania, and he resigns, and he decides to resign with WWE and stuff like that. What do you think? What hypothetical storyline do you think would fit with him the best?
After WrestleMania?
Yeah, like after WrestleMania. Let's say
it's honestly too hard to say because we have to get through Mania first. There's so many matches on Mania that we can't even really predict directions for after WrestleMania. So it's kind of too hard to predict where they're going to do with certain guys afterwards. I mean, yeah, we can say, well, Becky's going to be a champion. Seth might be a champion. Finn's probably going to win the IC title. We can predict stuff like that and say they're going to defend and this and that. But like storyline-wise, we don't know because also 2 weeks after WrestleMania is the Superstar Shakeup.
Oh, and do you think, what's your prediction? Do you think Aleister and Ricochet are going to win the championships, or they're going to keep them on the Revival?
Well, to be honest right now, we don't know what they're doing with Ricochet and Aleister Black at WrestleMania. They could be challenging for the Raw titles, but at the same time, they've been in the mix for the SmackDown titles. They're also challenging the night before for the NXT Tag Team Championships, which I assume the War Raiders will retain. So until we do get a clear, this is the Raw Tag Team title match, this is the SmackDown Tag Team title match, we can't even predict that one because we don't know which way they put Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Do you think, and I'm not sure if this is a hypothetical situation, do you think they're ever going to, since basically it seems like, do you think they're going to keep the titles separate, or do you think eventually with the tag team titles, because it seems like the tag team scene is really thin, and do you think they're going to unify the SmackDown and Raw tag team titles eventually, and have one tag team title jumping between brands? And the same thing with the women's championship, since the women's division is not that thin, deep.
Well, with that question, I want to say thank you for the call. They could unify the tag titles, but the caller said it. He said the tag team divisions are thin. Honestly, they're not thin. We just see the same teams get used over and over every week. They're really not thin. There's enough teams on both Raw and SmackDown to have a good men's Raw tag team division and a men's SmackDown tag team division. It's not the fact of that the divisions are thin. It's the fact of WWE doesn't use everybody that they've got on those rosters. With that, let's take another call. Let's just jump right into it. We're going good. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Oh, hello, Tim. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, I may have missed out, Tim, because I was gone here and there, but, I would like to know your opinion on the whole Charlotte winning the championship thing. That's what I would really like to know. And I would like to say my whole thing, what happened with this week's SmackDown, if that's possible.
So, like I said earlier, the Charlotte winning the title thing, it was a shocker. It was probably a shocker to most people. We had heard that there were some things that were going to happen with Asuka going into SmackDown. We didn't know what that was. There were a lot of different things that it could have been, and I honestly did not expect when SmackDown started that Charlotte would be winning the title. About 2 minutes into that match, I was kind of like, they're switching this damn title. Because it's like, why do the match if they're not actually going to switch the title? Because my first thought was, okay, they do the match, maybe Becky comes down and disqualification quick. But once...
Or at least Nikki Cross. Yeah, oh, sorry.
Okay, but once Becky never came down, I was like, oh, you can't have Charlotte lose that match. And so I was like, nope, Charlotte's winning that belt. So it was kind of like...
could have someone... Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
No, I'm saying at least you could have someone start at least start something at least with Asuka, like Nikki Cross or someone else, someone that deserves the title other than Charlotte again.
I mean, I'd been saying for a while, her and Naomi would have had a really good match at WrestleMania.
Yes, definitely. Yes, no doubt about that. But now I like to focus on the Miz and Shane stuff. Now, I am not a fan of that feud. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't think Shane is really, like I think you said it once in one of your videos, Shane is a top guy. He can't wrestle like that. He just uses the trash can and rock and sock and robots thing. Other than that, I don't know. He doesn't really, I don't know. How do you feel about, Shane and the whole Miz thing?
Ever since Shane returned for WrestleMania 32, when Shane returned, tickets were going okay for WrestleMania 32. They then announced Shane versus The Undertaker Hell in a Cell. Tickets started selling. Vince then got in his head, well, damn, maybe my kid's a draw. He didn't think maybe it was The Undertaker and the fact that it was a Hell in a Cell. So then, ever since then, Shane's got to have a quote-unquote high-profile match at WrestleMania. Now, when this match was announced as just a singles match, I was like, okay, this will be all right. But now that it's a false count anywhere and these guys can just do whatever they need to do to try and make this match any kind of good, I think it might exceed most people's expectations. I'm not saying it's going to be a great match or anything, but it may be better than what you think it could be now that it's false count anywhere.
But do you think Shane's a good wrestler?
Have you seen his punches?
I answered my own question. But all right, now moving on to the LeBron and the cringy SNL thing. Oh God, what can you say about that? What's your opinion on that, Tim?
I mean, there's not much more to say that I said last night. I mean, we already ran down Smackdown, and I do have more people trying to call in. So, fortunately, I got to say thank you for the call, and have a great night.
No problem. You have a great night, too, Tim. Thank you for asking my call. Bye. You have a wonderful night.
You too. All right, let's jump into another call here. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey there, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Good, thanks. Regarding this whole Charlotte Flair winning the title, I'm kind of mixed. I love it because now it's going to give her so much heat, which to the heel, so it's perfect for her.
Right.
But then when I think about it, I really hope they do not unify the title, because if they do, it just takes the brand split away, and I think a lot of people won't like that.
Oh, his phone cut out. Unfortunate there. I don't know what was going on, but it was cutting in and out. We eventually lost it. Let's take another call. Sorry about that one. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
I wanted to ask you about a couple things.
Sure.
I was wondering, I heard you earlier say too, but what if they kind of unify the women's championships? I mean, if Charlotte at Mania, if it's possible.
You know, when they did the first brand split in 2002, the women's and the men's main titles, well, there was only one women's title, but the WWE Championship and the women's championship were both brands, not brand exclusive. Mm-hmm. Trish was the women's champion, Undertaker was the WWE champion, and they were able to go from brand to brand. Now, if you listen to a Bruce Pritchard podcast talking about the original draft, he did state that the reason they ended up going with a Raw champion and a SmackDown champion was the fact of whoever was that champion had to travel more than anybody. It was harder to book them because you didn't know, okay, well, if we don't book them on this weekend's SmackDown house shows, then if we book them on this weekend's SmackDown house shows, then the Raw house shows, they're not going to have a world champion, or vice versa. And then it was also, okay, who gets the world champion this month as far as the pay-per-view goes? Who gets the world champion? He said it was more of a hassle to try and figure out how to divide the time of the champion and how to use the title between both brands as far as keeping storylines consistent and whatnot. So, I mean, they can do it, but we had seen in the past that it just became too much and they eventually did cut it out.
So they'll just probably keep them separate then?
I mean, we don't know. Maybe they've got a new plan in place where they can make it work now. I mean, 17, 16 years later, it's a lot easier now to fly somebody from one city to the other really quickly. I mean, we saw that Becky and Charlotte, they were at ESPN Sports Center this morning, and then boom, they were raring to go for SmackDown tonight.
And do you think Miz is going to get the win at Mania?
I think there's a possibility. You know, that's the one match, when you look at a lot of these matches on the card right now, that may be the one match that can go either way. But if you had to say it should go one way, I think it should go the Miz.
Miz. And for Randy interviewing in the AJ and Kurt match, that was probably just a message, right, for Randy for their Mania match?
Basically, it was just a, hey, AJ, I'm always there even when you're not expecting it, and then Kurt just gets to stand tall by hitting that angle slam on Randy.
I was wondering, too, you don't think they'll probably renew that one, do you? Or do you think that was for Randy to interfere?
What do you mean?
I mean, like to have another rematch for AJ and Kurt, or do you think that was only one time?
I think that was it. I think that was it.
So, okay, do you think he'll just be on Raw then next week, or SmackDown too, or just because him and Rey Mysterio on Raw?
Right, we know that Kurt and Rey's going to be on Raw. We haven't heard anything as far as if he's going to wrestle on SmackDown next week. I can go to WWE.com right now and check if they've announced anything since we've gone live. But I haven't heard anything. If Kurt's going to be on SmackDown, it's possible. But I don't know.
And if you got time for a last question,
sure,
or just a last thing, I'm kind of glad that Kofi won. And did you see that Byron Saxton had said he was going to go celebrate too?
Yeah.
That Saxton was very well. All right, well, thanks, Tim. So,
all right. Thanks for the call, and have a great night. So, to that text message earlier that stated that it seemed like Oni Lorcan was called up to 205 Live, it's official. WWE 8 minutes ago did post a video of Drake Maverick officially announcing that Oni Lorcan is now full-time part of 205 Live. Does that mean he's still going to work NXT? Maybe. Is he not going to be in NXT anymore? We don't know. We'll have to wait till after WrestleMania to see if he's still a tag team with Danny Burch or not. But he's full-time on 205 Live, so that's great. That's really great. As far as anything for Kurt next week on SmackDown, nothing has been announced yet by WWE. With that, let's take one final call, and then we'll run down all these text messages we do have. If you do want to text in, you can do so at 510-906-1341. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey Tim, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. First and foremost, I agree with Nick with the whole Charlotte thing. This is dumb. That's my guy. Miss him. Second thing, I've heard everyone's comments and stuff, and I don't think it's personally speaking, I don't think it's a good time to unify any titles because you got to think about it. There's somebody that let's say there's a feud on Raw right now, then what's SmackDown going to do? You're just going to have someone fight for the number one contender spot, and what if that person gets a rematch? I know they said they're not doing guaranteed rematches, but that's kind of a bunch of BS a little bit. Shame, because Shane and Miz got a rematch when they lost the tag team titles to the Usos, so that's kind of up in the air and stuff like that.
You know, and that's like what I was talking about earlier with the whole thing that Bruce Pritchard was saying when they did the first brand split. It was kind of hard to figure out, okay, if Raw has the world title feud this month or going in, for the next pay-per-view, what do we do with SmackDown? What's the main thing for SmackDown? And he said eventually it just got too confusing as far as how to keep different storylines together. Because if you say, like, your world champion, say they unified the women's championships, and you got Becky as the champion. If she goes over to Raw and she's feuding with Sasha Banks for the Raw women's or just the women's championship, is she also going to be on SmackDown feuding with somebody else at the same time, or is there just not going to be a champion on SmackDown? And like I said earlier with the Bruce Pritchard thing, what he noted is it just got too confusing with trying to keep everything situated of, well, this is a Raw thing, this is a SmackDown thing, but it's all with the same guy. So it could get a little confusing in that route.
I also think about this. Like, yes, you can fly them you can fly them faster now than years in the past. But think about it, they'll be burnt out. I know Raw, I know SmackDown will move the fighters, but still, you'll be burnt out. You still got to probably do a Euro tour, a house show. They're gonna be burnt out.
I mean, when Dean Ambrose was the WWE champion, when they did the first brand split, for that first month, he was working both the Raw and SmackDown house shows. Sometimes he would do the SmackDown house show and then he'd be like the first match on the card. They'd jet him to the Raw house show and he'd be the main event over there in the same night.
I get that, but that dude, he's a workhorse, and no one has his. Also, no one has his work ethic, and that's undeniable.
Oh yeah, Dean's a hard worker, and it's like you can only do that for so long before it gets too much.
Yeah. Oh, my last thing is, honestly, what do you think they're doing with Asuka? To me, she's one of the best. Honestly, she's one of your best female wrestlers, not just in WWE, in the world. Period. She can put on a great match with. She can carry people, and I just think they're just wasting her. I feel like she's getting the same treatment with Shinsuke. You wanted to push him, but then you made him look like nothing by losing to Jinder Mahal multiple times.
I feel the exact same way. It's mind-boggling, baffling what they're doing with Asuka. Asuka could.
I feel like they just don't like Japanese stars, and that's just personally how I feel.
I mean, I can get where you can see that. But it's just like Asuka could have easily been the best overall female wrestler in their company. And we saw it in NXT. She was having great matches. She put on good matches with Dana Brooke.
True. Is it because she's not blonde? I know there's nothing mean much, but come on. Vince likes blondes, and they look pretty and stuff. He'll push them. Lacey Evans, they're going to give her a big push. They like Mandy Rose.
What I was trying to say is, like, Dana Brooke's not good, and her matches with Asuka weren't bad because Asuka was in there. Like you said, she can carry anybody to a good match.
I saw that match, and Asuka's just great. I just hate what they're doing to her. She's just too good. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked later on in the year she decides to leave. I hope she does not because I love Asuka, but I can see that.
Right. I don't know when her contract's up. She's one of the names that you don't really hear much about. And you would think if she does leave WWE, she'd have offers from anybody.
Asuka, AEW confirmed. Yes. Well, thanks for taking my call, Tim. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
You too, buddy.
All right. With that, let's check some text messages before we wrap things up. This person asks, let me see, hold on, because this is a multiple part question. Basically they're asking if Charlotte should lose the title. I believe now this is a hard one because is Charlotte's title gonna be on the line? If it's both titles on the line, Becky's ultimately gonna come out with the championship. So if it's one or both, Becky's coming out with the championship. This person says, since SmackDown is moving to Fox this Halloween, they need some top stars. It will finally teach Vince to quit disrespecting SmackDown and quit sending the top stars to Raw and the B-plus players to SmackDown. B-plus players to SmackDown. Are you calling Daniel Bryan? 313. Are you calling Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, all B-plus players? I hope not, because those are 4 of the top 5 guys in your company in the WWE. This person says, you think Kane will be in the Battle Royal? Nah. Person says, you think Lio Rush turns on Lashley because he's had enough of the verbal and physical abuse and Rush is added to the IC title match? Nah. Another one asking if they're going to unify the women's titles. Don't know. Person says, how do you feel if they take Charlotte out of the match because she won the championship? They're not. Hear me out when I say this. The main event of WrestleMania is gonna be a triple threat. Becky, Charlotte, Ronda. If you saw on SmackDown, they updated a graphic to show Charlotte holding her belt. Just because she's got a belt now, she's not getting pulled out of that match. It's still going to be a triple threat. They've done too much advertising it as a triple threat to not do the triple threat. It ain't changing. Mark my words. Final text message here. Yep. Okay, so with that, I want to say thank you guys, wrap it up here, for joining me live to talk SmackDown Live here tonight. As we always do after the SmackDown Live review, I tell you what I thought was better, Raw or SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was the better show tonight. We will be posting some more videos tonight. Got some more news to put out there, and I've also got PW Daily Series. It's a new Monday through Friday series that does post at 11 a.m. Pacific, again, every Monday through Friday, where I run down some of the news you may have missed, some other stories you may not have seen, and give my thoughts on all of that. It's going to be something cool. Eventually, I'm going to add more to it. It's going to be a work in progress. So I want your guys' thoughts on the new PWU Daily Show. Again, it's a weekly news show, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, right here on the Pro Wrestling Unlimited YouTube channel. Also, we will be live tomorrow night, normal time at 9 p.m. Pacific for the PW Unlimited Wednesday show. Have a great night, guys. Oh, yeah, and remember to hit that notification bell to let you know when we go live or post a new video.